You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Kate Hobson.
The AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California. Presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV's Castle After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Castle After Show.
Hello, everyone. We are here doing another Castle after show here at AFTERBUZZ TV. You might recognize me as not Paige Sullivan. She's actually out of town this week, so I will be doing my best to fill in her big shoes that she's left here. I'm Tiona Hobson, and joining me tonight, we have a brand new member of our Castle panel, who I will let introduce herself.
Yeah, I am not Paige Sullivan either. I am Kate Aquillano. I am brand new to the panel, so thank you for letting me crash.
Yeah, and brand new to AFTERBUZZ, so welcome.
Brand new, so I hope I don't mess this up.
You'll be fine.
No worries.
I mean, this was definitely not a complicated episode of Castle at all to follow, so.
Are any of them complicated? But that's why we love them.
Yes.
Because it's entertaining, kind of complicated, but not so much.
Yeah, the whole time traveling thing. There's a few moments where I had to ask you questions because you're like the resident Terminator.
Well, this is kind of like Castle in the episode was like, this is my favorite case. This was kind of my favorite episode because it's basically the Terminator. Like, I'm sure we'll get into it more.
Yes, we will.
But there's a kid that needs to be protected because he's going to save the future. Very Terminator.
Very Terminator.
Yes.
And this is season 6, episode 5, Time Will Tell. So even the title is kind of Terminator-esque.
Very much so.
Let's get right into it. This week, our case is Shauna Taylor, who was a parole officer, was found tortured and electrocuted.
Not pretty.
It looked like a man-made electrocution machine in her apartment that she was found in, with her neck all slit open and whatnot. So she was found dead, and we know that she had a stalker of some sort who was put on a psych hold for 72 hours. He was a John Doe, but we were able to track him down and find him. His name was Simon Doyle.
Simon Doyle
is what he eventually gave the cops. I don't know if that's his real name or not.
Who knows? He is from the future, guys. He can make up any name he wants.
Yes, he claims to be from 2035, which, when you think about it, isn't that
it's
far
not that far
off.
away.
So if we can actually time travel in 2035, we're doing something right now.
But we also, according to him, have a massive war over energy, so it might not be that fun to live 20 more.
Forget this war on oil that we've got going on. Oil so 2010.
2035, no energy, and stuff goes crazy.
Yes, so he is talking all sorts of crazy. They have him on video from when he was arrested for kind of stalking her.
Yes.
And he's talking about how he has to save her, and he keeps saying the number 1258. He doesn't know the meaning of it. They don't know the meaning of it, but her neighbor calls and is like, hey, the same guy who I saw leaving her apartment is back. He's broken in again.
And that's where they get him.
That's where they get him. Now, as a criminal, you never go back to the crime scene.
So that makes you think that he didn't do it. Because, Beckett and Castle, he's pretty much, he was there at the time of the murder. He had blood on him, all fingers pointing to him, but no.
So they get him into the precinct.
My favorite thing about him is that he never backs down on his story.
He never does, which the whole episode, I know we talked about this while we were watching it. I believed him that he was from the future, and I was just like, how are they going to explain the time travel thing? Because I really hope
he believes it,
that it's true and that he's not just crazy.
I thought they were just going to let it go and let us figure it out. Like, they got the killer. Mm-hmm. We don't need to explain why he's from the future.
I thought they were gonna leave it kind of. I mean, they did kind of leave it open.
I still believe you, Simon Doyle.
Yeah, Simon Doyle. I'm on your side right now. But he explains to them that he's from the future, and someone has broken into their system of time travel because he's been all over the time travel world.
He said he went to Nazi Germany.
Yes.
He went crazy places.
He went crazy places. So someone broke into their system and they tracked that the first time change, or the change in the timeline, happens at her apartment at 12:58. And so that's all he knows. And he needs to figure it out soon because his one job was to protect her and keep her alive. And he doesn't have much time until he's going to be recalled.
Yes, because with her death, all of this change is set in motion. So his job was to stop her from dying, which of course he didn't do.
He did not do that. We also find out that when we get the body back, that the time of death was between midnight and 2 a.m. He was still in psych hold at that time. So
Simon didn't do it.
Simon did not kill the body, but Beckett's still not convinced that he's not connected in some way.
Beckett's still not convinced that he's not crazy.
Yes. Turned out that Shauna was actually with someone that night. She had gone home with a lady. Her brother, who we met earlier in the episode, her stepbrother, I should say, Malcolm and his wife, confirmed that she was a lesbian and was unaware that she was dating anyone. They weren't very close as step siblings. You know, he said they talked maybe once or twice a month ever since their dad died.
Right. But this person that she went to the bar with, the woman, that she had lipstick on her neck, so that's how they knew that she was with someone. And this woman really propels the story forward because her boss, she was a prostitute. It gets a little complicated. Her boss was hired to have Veronica pick up Shauna. Shauna was the woman who died in the beginning. And so this leads us to her boss's person, which is Garrett Ward.
Yes.
And Garrett is a mean man.
He is a mean man.
Even in the face.
And he is kind of, he was described as kind of, maybe he was in armed services because he was so like push-ups every morning and just a soldier mentality. Yes. But I mean, if he's from the future and he's on the bad side,
I don't want to be on his bad side.
Yeah, I mean, he's said that he went into the prison and within a week was running things. I watched Orange is the New Black. It takes a little longer than that to start running a prison.
You got to plan.
Yeah, you got to plan. You got to serve your time. So
exactly. If
this is someone who in the prison system everyone was afraid of, then you know you're messing with someone serious. So Doyle has somehow disappeared from his cell. We're not sure if there was a mix-up on the paperwork like Beckett believes that there was.
He can just disappear and go to a new time.
Yeah, or was he recalled? Did someone help him out? But all we see are his handcuffs sitting on the bench, and it's kind of like, wow, what is happening?
I believe in time travel.
I believe in time travel.
But then, sadly, another death occurs when Garrett Ward goes to Shauna's stepbrother's home and kills the stepbrother. Yeah. And we find out that he is a physicist. Yes. And that his work might have influenced the energy war in the future, and that's why he is involved.
Yes, and there's this whole conference that Garrett Ward had attempted to bomb 6 years prior to this.
Where the stepbrother was a speaker.
And this is where I got a little confused with the timeline jump, because they were talking about how he came back 6 years ago, but their first interaction with the timeline jump didn't happen till today.
Right.
So they were confused why he would go 6 years back. I mean, by the end of the episode, it was...
Time travel is confusing.
Time travel is so confusing.
We can't keep up.
And this episode was great. Yeah. Because, I mean, at least they did slow it down for people like me who needed a second to catch up. I mean, the sci-fi, all this stuff... I'm not used to it on Castle, so it took a minute for my mind to kind of go to that place, but it got there eventually, and it was great. But yeah, so they show up because they figure out that Garrett Ward is after Shauna's brother, Malcolm, and by the time they get there, he has already been at this place and dragged him inside his house, starts asking him about the child, screaming at him, and then when he hears the sirens because his wife called, he snaps his neck kills him and then takes off
and leaves. So by the time the cops get there, Garrett Ward is already gone. But now we have this new clue of he was asking for the child, and we have no idea what he's talking about. And how do we find out that he's living in a power plant? That
happened because of Doyle.
Okay, so Doyle then tells us that
I think
Ward is living at a power plant, and Beckett and Castle go to like an abandoned power plant and find Ward's little hideout. And at the hideout, he scared the crap out of me. I think I jumped like 2 feet in the air.
And I was looking down, so you actually scared me while we were watching it. And just a correction real quick. It wasn't actually Doyle who pointed out. It was Jack Hastings, the leader of that eco group.
Yes. There's so many people. I'm sorry.
There was a lot of people brought in, especially at the end where it was just like, oh, here's
the explanation for this.
Here's Mick. Here's Garrett. Here's this person. Yes. It was very fast. But just taking it back when Garrett got away. Mm-hmm. My biggest question at this point was, okay, like he walks in, he snaps this guy's neck. How then are you going to go into an abandoned building with just you and Castle Beckett?
I thought about that when that was happening. And I was like, maybe I shouldn't think too much into this. Because, one, we know Castle is not going to win that fight.
No.
And Beckett is like one gun. I mean, Beckett's tough.
Beckett is a tough chick.
She is. But what this guy is capable of, which we see twice in this episode already, it was a little careless.
Yeah, because, I mean, they go and talk to this Jack Hastings guy who was the leader of this eco group. He kind of, his new book is all about how in a few years the planet will have no energy and will the American or the human race survive it. So, I mean, a lot of his ideas are similar to what Ward said, just he's not as an extremist as some might call him.
Right.
So he gives the tip because 6 years ago he staged the sit-in and then realized that Ward was actually not a good person and was only there to bomb the place.
Convention.
So he leads them to this abandoned power plant. I'm just thinking, Beckett, I mean, I say this all the time. Always have backup.
Backup.
I mean, even if you're not sure that someone's there, just...
Where were Esposito and Ryan?
Yeah, Esposito and Ryan. Where was, what's his name?
Stucky.
Yeah, where was he? Whole episode.
Minor detour, but real quick, he was there last episode, but now that Beckett has her job back, I don't know if he's going to be there still.
And it looked like she took his desk.
Good. His desk was too dirty for me.
Was too dirty.
But we're in the power plant now.
Yeah, we're in the power plant. And he jumps out of nowhere. Well, and I want to point out that the reason why Beckett knew that someone was there was because there was like this candy wrapper on the ground. And I'm just thinking, if this is all about the energy war and saving the earth, like you're going to litter?
And you're going to eat a candy bar? Aren't you going to have like an organic like granola bar?
Yeah.
I feel like should save the earth in that way too.
Exactly. So anyways, but yeah, so he has this whole setup where he's been living in this abandoned power plant, which is kind of weird. And that's where he was living 6 years ago as well. He hears them, jumps out of nowhere, tries
the crap out of us.
Yeah, tries to attack Beckett and Castle. Beckett gets knocked out. Here comes Castle trying to defend his fiance's honor.
But who saves the day? Simon Doyle.
Simon Doyle. Out of nowhere.
But then Beckett still handcuffs him. I'm like, Beckett, he just kind of saved your life. But she's still skeptical.
She's still skeptical. Beckett is always going to be the one asking more questions, whereas Castle is totally loving.
He wants to just talk to him and be like, wait, why this? Why that?
They have him tied up, and I mean, he answers a lot of questions. He talks about their future. He's like, yeah, well.
That was one of my favorite parts.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, you know, Beckett, Senator Beckett, and, you know, I know who you are. You have 3 kids, and you live with your wife. And
he's like, you write serious literature now. And he's like, what? I do. So that was fun. A little peek into the future.
But it won't happen if we don't stop Ward from his mission of whatever he is after, because at this point, we don't know who the child is. And so Doyle also helps them figure out because they know that they have this letter.
They find a letter in the hideout.
And certain things are circled.
Like an elementary school in New York.
Physics
It's
project.
A letter to the stepbrother.
Yeah, it's a letter to Malcolm.
Right.
You know, he was a big fan of Malcolm's, and he was going to this conference to hear him speak. He's a high school student. So Doyle's actually the one saying, like, hey, the rest of that letter isn't there. Where's the original? This is just a copy.
It was just a picture of the letter.
And the letter had a coffee stain.
Very
on
important.
It. A coffee stain on
Remember
that letter. Yes. So they go to Malcolm's wife. Well, Esposito and Ryan. Go there. She finds the
original letter, and it's Paul DeChild. So he wasn't shouting the child. He was shouting DeChild, which is actually this high schooler.
Yes.
And we need to find him now because obviously Ward wants to kill him too.
Yeah. And it's still kind of unsure why. And then Simon Doyle, again, because he's from the future, he knows that Paul DeChild is the creator of the energy shield that will help the good guys win the energy war in the fashion.
So basically, he's John Connor.
Yes. And this
Paul
is where the Terminator reference
is John Connor, because John Connor is the leader of the resistance, and that's why he can't die. He has to survive because he helps us win the war. Paul DeChild helps us win the war on energy. It's the Terminator.
It is the Terminator. And I'm so glad that you were here to catch that reference because while I have not seen the Terminator in years.
We'll have a Terminator party.
We will.
And we can watch all three.
You were just on it so quick.
4 now. We can watch all 4.
You got it so quick.
I love the Terminator.
And even when the episode started, you're like, oh, it's like the Terminator. Mm-hmm. And then as it went on, you just...
More and more.
Terminator. We're like, it's the Terminator.
Yeah.
So what a nice nod to the Terminator. So they have to track down Paul. He's taken a semester off of college. His parents don't know where he is.
Right.
They find him. He was staying with a friend. He's at a planetarium.
Yeah, they talk to a friend. Friend says he's at a planetarium. But he also had already told Ward where he was as well. So now they're in a race to who gets to him first.
And luckily, it was Esposito who got there first. Stops Ward right as he's creeping up. I mean, this makes you scared to go to a planetarium.
I will never go to a planetarium again. It was way too creepy.
It's really creepy because you're in the dark and all of a sudden a guy with the gun's there, but it's the cop who's saving you and not the guy with the knife who's...
And even though Ward was surrounded by cops, he still tried. But so they arrest him. Paul DeChild is safe. And Beckett is in the interrogation with Ward, and he does not speak. He has no explanation, straight, mean face the whole time.
Yeah, and I loved when she kind of slammed the desk and was like, whatever you were up to, it's over. And as she turned it back to walk away, he kind of smirked, which makes me think everything about the ending of this whole time travel episode makes me want another one. And that it's kind of open for more to happen.
That's fine. This was Terminator 1. We can have a castle about Terminator 2 and Terminator 3. Just keep it coming.
We'll go to Terminator 5, even though there's not a movie yet.
I'm sure there will be.
One day. So Ward clearly won't say anything. We find out that DeChild actually was the one who warned security about his suspicious actions that day of the bombing.
Yes.
So this looks like, although it could still be time traveling, it's actually just revenge because this is the guy who got him caught in the first place.
Right. He told the police that Ward had a bomb at the convention 6 years ago. But there's also a connection between, so you had to find out where Doyle fits into this.
Yes.
Where is Simon Doyle and how does he know Ward and how does that all fit together?
And we find out that they were in the same psych ward many moons ago, and they were next door neighbors in this. But Simon has a great explanation.
I know, he never gives up.
Never gives up on this story.
I loved it.
Even if you're acting out this story, I don't think you could make something up so perfectly in the spotlight like he does.
And so then they have to let him go. He didn't commit a crime. He passed his psych eval by lying. He admits to lying, but he can pass it
to the cops.
And so then he can just leave, and he forgets his little future toy on the desk. So Castle grabs it and runs towards him to give it to him. And as he turns the corner, Doyle disappears.
Yeah,
Was he recalled?
Right as he disappeared, right when he did something on his watch as he was rounding that corner, and then boom, disappeared. Where did he go?
Time travel.
Is his name really Simon Doyle? No, it's not. I don't think so.
But the most important, what happened to the note?
The note. Beckett is sitting at her desk at the end of the night and knocks her coffee cup over and spills coffee on the note in the exact pattern that the note that she had was in.
Yeah, so the original was clean, and then the picture that Ward had this intense coffee stain. And he
only had the first page of it, which she had, that was the first page. It would have been in evidence in the police station. So in the future, he would have a copy of it.
Exactly.
It all makes sense. And I hate that the fascists are setting Simon Doyle up by, you know, planting him in the psych ward. You know, he hasn't done it yet, but he's
he goes on this whole rant that he'll see them again because they'll just send him back to kind of talk to Ward again in the psych ward.
So I really hope that we see more of Simon Doyle.
I kind of liked it.
I really liked this episode. It was a fun episode. I think the first couple episodes were a little intense, you know, with Beckett being away. And
right. They had to resolve the whole Washington thing, which I mean, I'm sure you guys talked about it. Again, I am very new to this panel, but it was very interesting how they got, you know, we're going to get her back to the city. Exactly. And I want to take a moment to just let you guys know that if you're watching us on YouTube or live on AfterBuzz TV, you can also check us out on iTunes. Make sure you go and like and subscribe to the podcast, rate us, give us 5 stars, leave a comment, say something nice and awesome about how awesome Kate is. I'm new. Give me some good comments. Give her some love. You can also comment on our YouTube page. We do check it and we'll talk back to you. And yeah, so make sure you're doing that for us, guys. iTunes, 5 stars. Woo, awesome. The other thing that was happening during this episode tonight was Pie, who you haven't been here, but I absolutely love Pie. I think he is so great, and I love the emotions that he brings out in Castle. That is amazing. I do like that little dynamic. But Pie and Alexis? I don't see it lasting forever. Well, no, I mean, I get it. She had some traumatic experiences. She needs something light and fun. But Alexis, come on. I mean, you know, the girl's been so studious for so long that she deserves her little summer fling, but now they're gonna move in together. Yeah, so Papa Castle's not happy about get him off the couch. Get him off the couch. His mess everywhere. I mean, he hasn't been appreciating all those great juices that he's been making in the mornings for everyone. I want some of those juices. Yeah, I know those juices look kind of bomb. Side note. So Alexis announces that, oh, Dad, because Castle's like, hey, he's got to get out of here. Yeah. And she goes, oh, no problem. I think we found a place. He's like, what? So, of course, I mean, Castle's used to having Alexis there. He's used to having his mom there. Now Beckett's there. Alexis, she's young. She's in college. Yeah. She wants to go kind of live her life and test out the waters with Pie. Beckett tries to stay out of it for the longest time. She gives some good advice. She says, if you are against it, it's just going to make her want to do it even more, which we're girls. We know that happens. But I don't think it's going to work out. That's my prediction. But we'll see. I think Castle sees her as such a little girl still. Yeah. And that's why he's not okay with it. But maybe it'll be a good growing experience. And Beckett also, when they're working on the case and Castle's on the phone with Alexis, Beckett tells him, maybe it is a good idea, we're kind of starting this new thing with us, and she needs to find her place and where she was. And I started thinking about it. I was like, Beckett and Alexis don't really have like a relationship. I wish they would explore that a little more. Yeah, I think that's something that maybe down the line we'll get a little bit more of, because, all of a sudden Alexis comes home and, Beckett's in there and Grandma's there and Dad, and it's kind of overwhelming. It's like, where do I fit in with my dad's new life and his new wife, or new soon-to-be wife, and But then they also said that, they're getting a place near school, that she's going back to school in a month. So will she be in the show very much when she's at school? Or will it more focus on just their relationship with Castle and Beckett? Yeah. Or will Alexis still make some appearances? Yeah, I mean, first reference of Castle and Beckett's future kids. Are they going to have some 3?
I mean, he's already got one, so
that's true.
Better start working.
Better start
out.
now.
Yeah, better start pumping them out.
But it was very interesting because the whole A and B story, A was like, I know what happens in the future. You know, they're coming back. They're trying to stop it. The B story, Alexis, she doesn't know what's going to happen. And that's why she has to do it, because she has to figure some stuff out on her own.
Exactly.
And so it was very, you know, the dynamic was good.
Yeah, and no matter how hard parents try, you know, to stop us from making the same mistakes they made or from making mistakes we can't see that we're about to make.
Right.
Ultimately, sometimes we have to make those mistakes in order to, you have to experience life. And Castle, as a writer, should understand that she has to have these experiences because as a writer, if he didn't have experiences, you know, working with the police, he wouldn't really have much to write about.
Exactly.
So his daughter has to go out and have her own experiences of life and figure it out on her own. And one day she'll have a great story to tell too.
Exactly.
So,
no, yeah, it should be interesting to see where Pi and Alexis go in the future.
Exactly.
Oh, Pi.
Oh, Pi. I love him. I want more Pi. I think he should be involved in like the crime solving somehow.
Oh, God. Maybe a case with like Pi witnesses it or is like a fruit at a fruit stand when a murder happens. I don't know.
I could totally see that.
I could make that happen.
So that about wraps it for this episode. So let's talk a little news and gossip.
AfterBuzz TV News.
So Nathan Fillion just finished, recently filmed a guest spot for NBC's show Community, which is hilarious. If you don't watch it, you should.
Yes.
And the cast of Community, I follow them all on Twitter, and they're actually huge Nathan Fillion fans.
Who isn't?
And so they're constantly tweeting at him.
Yeah.
So it's great that they got him on the show. Well, he sent the crew a thank you gift, and it was a pizza chef to make everyone pizza.
Oh, how thoughtful.
Yeah, that was the nice part. And then just proving that he is the most awesome guy in the world, he sends them a giant thank you sign of himself cut out. Him as his Dr. Horrible sing-along blog character, Captain Hammer, that says, "Thank you for a great time, Nathan." And
I hope that Amy Poehler just puts that in the background of some episode of Community in the future. He's like standing in a window, just like the cardboard cutout of him, like saying thank you. That would be amazing.
That would be amazing.
And she would do it because she's up for anything.
Because she's up for anything.
But that's fun.
Yeah, I will put the picture on the AfterBuzz TV website so that you guys can see what we're talking about right now. So yeah, just proving that he's the greatest guy ever. The cast members did tweet thank yous. Yvette Nicole Brown tweeted at Nathan Fillion, "Is a king among kings. Yes, that is a pizza oven. Thank you. You're welcome back anytime. #community." So.
I'm so glad that he did that. I can't wait to see.
Yeah, and I love that two shows, you know, on two different networks are coming together and, you know, see, everyone gets along in Hollywood.
We're all friends.
Everyone's friends. I just got to figure out how to get in there.
I know. How come I can't be on Community? I can be your friend.
I just want to be friends with everyone.
Come on.
And that will take us into our predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
So next week we have kind of a Halloween kind of.
I know this music is very appropriate.
Appropriate for that, right? Episode where it looked like a mixture. There was like some Indiana Jones type elements in there, and it looks like another fun episode.
Halloween episodes are always fun because everyone, you know, even on any series, like I remember just like, you know, ER and like any other cop show, crazy stuff happens on Halloween. So it makes for like, you can exaggerate even more.
Yes.
Because it's Halloween and people go crazy. And so that's why it's going to be a really fun episode.
And how to follow up from an episode like this.
Time travel to
Halloween. That's just going to be awesome.
Will they dress up? Who will Castle dress up as?
He should dress up as one of his old school characters or something.
That would be fun. Little nod.
Or since he's a writer on Castle, he should dress up as like Sherlock Holmes or something.
Got it. I would like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I think I'm going to agree with you where I don't see Alexis and Pi lasting.
Right.
But I think they'll last a little while longer. I think they're going to try out this whole living together thing, and it's going to be kind of a test for Castle to have her away like that. Yeah. And I want to see more of a relationship with Beckett and Alexis.
I agree with you on that one. I think that I mean, they've known each other this whole series, and they really don't have a huge relationship. So I think that would be really interesting to explore. And, I mean, technically, she's going to be your stepmom. So I think they need to delve into that a little bit.
Yeah, I think that something will happen that will force Alexis to kind of have to go to Beckett for advice on something, like maybe a pregnancy scare or something.
That's a big prediction.
And, she's scared to tell her dad, so she goes to her soon-to-be stepmom.
I like that.
Instead.
I like that.
So let us know what you guys think. Make sure you leave us comments on iTunes and YouTube. Keeping the conversation going. Where can they find you on social media?
You can find me at Kate Aquillano on Twitter. That's Aquillano. I'm sorry, it's really a hard last name. I'm sorry.
And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at the Tiona Hobson. You can find all the hosts here at AfterBuzz at AfterBuzz TV on Twitter and Instagram. Paige will be back next week, and we'll see you guys then.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.